Today we're starting a new topic. It's called equations. So you need to start a new page, put a topic heading down equations, and we're starting our first part. Now, you have done a little bit on equations in Year 7, a little bit more in Year 8. You learned a fair bit in Year 8. But now we're sort of starting part of the way through your Year 8 course, and then we're developing on there. All right, so some of you may have done this before. I do teach differently to a lot of teachers, so I'm going to explain the way I do it. Let's go. All right, so it's equations with variables on both sides. Variables can be called pronumerals as well, and they are the letters. All right, so we're looking at the terms that contain the letters, and we're trying to get all the letters on one side of the equation and all the numbers on the other side of the equation. And we're going to do all of that in one line. All right, so to do that, you have to look at where the letters are and look at the numbers in front of those letters first. So I'm going to go through the examples and explain it to you as we go. So we're solving, which we all know by now is just find the value of the letter, or the pronumeral or variable. So in this one, we've got W on both sides of the equation. So I want you just to underline the terms that contain the W, and then look at the number in front of the W. We call it the coefficient. So look at the two coefficients. Which one is bigger? Because what we do is what I call majority rules. If 5 of you want to do one thing and 2 of you want to do something else, normally the 5 people get their way. So these 5 are going to stay where they are because the 5 is bigger than the 2. So the 5W will stay here. The 2W is going to come across and be over here with the other W's. All right, so we have a plus in front of that term. So when it comes across, we're going to do the opposite sign, which will be minus, and it'll be 2W. So that term is now over joining the other W's. Now the numbers have to go onto the right-hand side. So this 21 here is going to stay where it is, because that's where we want the numbers. And the plus 3, this one here, is going to come across to the other side and join the other number. So when it comes across, instead of plus, it's going to be minus. And then you've got all your letters on one side and all your numbers on the other. So now what we're doing is collecting our like terms, and we get 3W. Work our numbers out over there, and we get 18. All right, now you're just solving the little equation that's left. So we're getting rid of our times 3 here to leave us with the W by itself. And to do the opposite of times 3, we're dividing by 3. So it'll be 18 over 3 for the division. And that gives you 6 if you put it in on your calculator. So your answer is W equals 6. All right, looking at the next one. So we have for our terms with the letter 12N and 5N. So the bigger one is 12, so 12 stays where it is. 5N is going to move over with the other ends. And now there is a plus in front of that, so when it moves over, it will become a minus because we're doing the opposite when we come to the other side. Now we want the numbers on the right-hand side. So the minus 11 will stay there. And this time the plus 3 will move over here to join the other number and make sure you do the opposite, which is minus 3. All right, collect our letters, and we have 7N. Collect our numbers. Don't make any mistakes over here. If you can't trust yourself, use your calculator. So minus 11 minus 3 is minus 14. Now take it slowly. We're getting rid of this 7 here, the times 7. So we're going to do the opposite on the other side. So the N is now by itself. Minus 14 we write down. The opposite of times 7 is divide by 7. And then work that out on your calculator fraction key. And you'll get N equals minus 2. Okay, next question. Now they're getting a little bit trickier, so just be careful. So there's our two terms with our A. Now we're looking at the coefficients. This one's got a minus 2. This one has a 1. All right, so if you want to write that in, just use your red pen to write that in. So what's bigger, minus 2 or 1? 1's bigger, okay? So we keep that 1A where it is. The minus 2a is going to come across to join it, and we're doing the opposite sign. So it'll be plus 2a. Our numbers, our 9 is staying here, but our minus 4 has to come across to join it. So when it comes across, we're doing the opposite sign, which will be plus 4. And now we're going to work everything out. So we have a 13 on the left-hand side and a 3a on the right-hand side. So now we've got to get the a by itself over here on the right. So we're going to get rid of our times 3 here. So come to the other side and you get 13. Opposite of times 3 is divided by 3. And if you put that in your calculator, you're actually finished there. That won't go any further. And we don't mind giving our answers as improper fractions, so the calculator answer will be fine. All right, looking at the next one down the bottom here. Our two terms with x are minus 10x and minus 18x. Now be careful. Which one's bigger, minus 10 or minus 18? Minus 10 is bigger. Okay, so it's whichever one is closest to this end of the number line, the right hand. Okay, so if you can imagine, you've got 0 here, minus 10's here, minus 18's further over there. So this one's further to the right. Okay, so minus 10 is bigger, so minus 10x will stay here. The minus 18x is coming over, and when it comes over, we do the opposite, which is plus 18x. Now our numbers are on the right-hand side, so we have minus 20. This number here is coming across to join it. So over we go. Minus 12 will become plus 12 when it comes over there. And now we're collecting. So minus 10 plus 18, if you don't trust yourself, use your calculator, gives you 8. Put the x on the end. Minus 20 plus 12 is minus 8. Now we're getting our x by itself. So we need to get rid of our times 8. So we come over to the other side, write our minus 8 down that's already there, do the opposite of times 8, which is divide by 8. If you put that in your fraction key, you're going to get x equals minus 1. Okay, next question. We'll just move this over a bit. So we've got a few more to go yet. Okay, so just continuing. All right, so we're looking at number 5. Now, number 5, we have 7y and we have y. What's the number in front of that y? It's a 1, right? No number, it's always a 1. So what's bigger, 7 or 1? 7's definitely bigger, so we keep it here. Don't forget this has a plus in front of it and we're moving it. So it'll become minus 1y when it moves. If you want to write it as just minus y, you can, that's fine. Okay, our numbers, we're keeping the 3 here. We're moving the plus 15 over to be with the other number. Opposite of plus 15 is minus 15. All right, let's collect everything. We have 6y here. 3 minus 15 gives you minus 12. And now we're getting our y by itself. So we're getting rid of our times 6. So keep your minus 12, divide by your 6, and your calculator will give you minus 2. All right, number 6. So we have this time minus 3a and plus 7a. Which is bigger? It's definitely the 7a. Minus 3a comes across and becomes plus 3a. Then we have our numbers over here. So we've got our 20 already there. This is our other number with a plus in front. It moves and becomes a minus 50. All right, now we're collecting. So this will be 10a, and over here we have minus 30. We're getting the letter by itself, so we get rid of our times 10. Write your minus 30 down. Opposite of times 10 is divide by 10. And then just work that out. Minus 30 over 10 is minus 3. Okay, number 7. All right, this one we have k's, minus k and 7k. 7k is definitely bigger, so we write that down. We're moving our minus k over. Now remember, there is a 1 in there. Now, if you don't need to do this bit, you can leave it out. When I move it this time, instead of writing plus 1k, I'm just going to write plus k, just so you get used to it. But if you still want to write plus 1k, you can. Leave your number over here, and we're moving our minus 2 over with our numbers. So when we move our minus 2 to the other side, it will become plus 2. And now we collect 11, 8k. Remember, there's a 1 in front of that, so it's 7 plus 1, so it's 8k. All right, and the next bit, we're getting rid of our times 8 to get our k by itself over there on the right. So over here we have 11 already. Do the opposite of times 8 and you have over 8. And if you go to your calculator, that won't change. So just keep that answer. That's fine like it is. We don't need that last line. All right, now this last one is a multiple choice question. So I would rather you just look at the question and solve it the way we've been doing. So we're just going to move to the side here. Write the question down. Remember, equal signs always go under equal signs. I'll just move this over a bit. All right, equal signs are always under equal signs. You'll notice I've done that all the time. We need to see our left and our right-hand sides because we're always talking about our left and right. Okay, so looking at our terms with the letters, what's bigger, minus 4 or 2? 2's bigger, so we keep the 2p. Minus 4p comes across. What do? Change the sign. So it's plus 4p. That means our numbers are on the left. Keep the 11 that's already there. Move the plus 2 over so it can join the other number. Change sides, change your sign. So it's a minus 2. All right, collecting, we have a 6p on the right and a 9 on the left. Keep your p on the right-hand side. So we're getting rid of times 6. So we come over to the left and we have 9 over 6. And if you put that in your fraction key on your calculator and press equals, it will give you 3 over 2. Now at that point you're looking at these answers going, well, none of them say that. So you'll just be using your SD key to change the form of the answer. So instead of the answer becoming 3 over 2 as an improper fraction, the calculator can change that and give it to you as 1.5. And then we do have an answer. The answer's A. Okay, so there's a real pattern to this, but it's really easy to make mistakes because people are not concentrating. All right, so a couple of hints. Make sure that when you write your question down, you have room to move on the left and the right because you are moving things around a lot. Make sure your writing's not too small. All right, I've got very good students in the past that have just made so many silly errors on this because their writing's so small and they can't read their own plus and minus signs. So make sure your writing's a little bit bigger. You've got lots of room for spacing and you can see how big I write. All right, and just do it slowly, keeping your equal signs in line. All right, so I'm sure you can do it. Do your homework, check your answers. If you make any mistakes, I want you to go back and do it again. Make sure you know where you've made that error. Okay, good luck with your homework.